Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, and welcome to Tuesday's study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We do it every day, because repetition is the mother of mastery. You can hear these stories every day. You can hear some like nugget of truth every day, and sometimes it just won't sink into my thick head. So I hear it, and it sort of chips away at my ignorance, layers caked on ignorance. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Raghunath.
I'm 100% responsible for creating my experience. What do you think about that?
Thank you for sharing that.
I thought that was quite profound.
Nice,
I wrote
that's why
it
I
down
thanked you.
yesterday. I'm 100% responsible for creating my experience. I think we should save that, Mara. We were joking yesterday with Mara. We were joking about.
It's all a joke, Mara.
It's all a joke. We will never replace you, Mara. But we were thinking, okay, what we're gonna do is like that Brady Bunch season where they switched the Jans. Do you remember that? And they didn't even say, okay, we're gonna switch Jan. They just like switched them, and we were supposed to go. Wait a second, that's not Jan. It's like a whole new Jan. Do you remember that, Kaustubha?
I had no idea about that.
Didn't they switch Jans? I think they did too. We're Partridge Family. They switched the little girl, I think. They switched them. They just switched them. Or the little boy. Anyone old enough to remember what I'm even talking about?
No
Forgive
idea.
me, everybody, for polluting your Srimad Bhagavatam class. Okay. We are doing tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And then Thursday we have off. Just a little heads up because we are traveling on the road. And we're going to see a bunch of you others and Californians and Zoomers in Long Beach, California at Yoga 108. You can go to Yoga 108 Studio if you want to join us there. It's sold out, but there's some non-asana seats available.
Okay. So it's not entirely sold
It's not
out.
like it's a theater. You're sitting on the floor. It's a yoga studio. Anything you want to share, Kaustubha?
No, I'm ready to go. You got a nugget today?
Oh, do I have a nug?
Let's hear it.
Have you ever read The Handmaid's Tale? Or you've
No,
just
I
seen
know
the
that it's
show?
become a popular. I haven't seen the show. I haven't read the book, but I know it's become very popular.
These books are so depressing.
You
Because
read
they're
it?
so damn real.
You actually read that book?
Well, when I say read, you know that means audible.com.
Oh, you heard it on Audible. Okay.
I read it on Audible. It's the new way to read books.
And how
I
was
thought
it?
that. What's that?
How was
It's,
it?
it's depressing, man. It's depressing because it's like the future, and we're practically in it. It's like what's that movie my kids watch? Hunger Games. It's like the freaking Hunger Games, man.
I didn't see that.
You gotta watch the Hunger Games. It's great.
Really?
Depressingly great. It's all depressing. 1984, Animal Farm. We're living it. We're living it now. So anyway, there's a quote from the Handmaid's Tale
By?
by Margaret Atwood.
Okay.
Perspective is not, it has something to do with what we're talking about. which is perspective. We were talking about measuring time in units and seeing the bigger picture and zooming out of our life, because I get wrapped up into my own mind, my own depression, my own fears, my own anxieties, my own greatness. Zoom it out. Get some perspective on the real picture. And that's what the Bhagavatam does. That's what the Mahabharata does. That's what the Ramayana does. That's what the whole Vedic teachings do. And it relieves you from the burden of thinking you're so important, which is the big illusion. Our importance only comes from our contribution. Okay, that wasn't Margaret Atwood. That was me. You can write that down and quote it on another podcast. Perspective, here she goes. Perspective is necessary. Otherwise, there are only two dimensions. Otherwise, you live with your face squashed up against a wall. Everything, a huge foreground of details, close-ups, hairs, the weave of the bedsheet, the molecules of the face. Your own skin like a map, a diagram of futility, crisscrossed with tiny roads that lead nowhere. Think about that.
Yeah, I like that. It makes sense. In other words, like if say like, you're really close to a bed sheet, you're like super, super, super close. You don't even know that it's a bed sheet. You don't even know its purpose. You don't even know its value. You don't know, all its potential. And it's a fact. Unless we, that's the value of these sacred texts, right? It's giving a perspective that our senses, have no access to, right? To be able to zoom out and look at our life from a far greater distance, both in terms of time and space. And that's kind of what's playing out in this chapter. You can map, and then you can begin to map out your destination, right? If you're too close, you can't do it.
That's another good point. You can map out your destination.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Next year, 5 years, 10 years. I've been doing that lately, Prabhu. I've been doing that. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to count backwards now. Instead of counting up, I'm counting backwards. Okay, how much longer do I have in this life? You've heard me say this rant again and again, but it's true. What is this next chapter of my life's contribution? And that's how I feel the most satisfied in this life. Is like, what am I going to give? What am I going to really focus on? I got a lot of energy bursting out of here. Where am I going to direct that energy? And how can I tighten up the leaks? I got some leaks. This boat has some leaks. I'm sinking quick. How can I tighten up those leaks and move forward? Right?
Nice. Yeah.
Like that?
Mm-hmm. I do. I think what this chapter has been trying to communicate to us.
Yeah.
And we're going to wrap it up today. We might even begin the next chapter. But on a cosmic scale, we have a very short lifespan. And on a cosmic scale, the ups and downs of our life are super insignificant. And that there is a practically inconceivable range of macro and micro cycles taking place in and beyond this universe. But that there is something or someone that is behind it all and maintaining all the functionings and the balance of all these macro and micro dimensions. And that we're meant to discover and reconnect with that maintainer. And who's the maintainer?
The maintainer? Chandra Devi? Chandra, the god of the moon? Just kidding. Lord Vishnu is the maintainer.
Yeah, Vishnu is the maintainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Testing Mara. She didn't flinch.
Mara's come back today with like an attitude adjustment.
She's adjusted her attitude. She's completely on board now today. Nancy Rothman's banging
Trying to
on
keep
her
my
door.
job.
Mara knows because she's a boss herself, right? She knows, like, okay, that guy's like hanging by a thread right now. He could go at any time.
By the way, Nancy Rothman is like the kindest lady you've ever met. We're joking that we have this running joke that she's vying for Mara's gig, and it's just not true.
It's just not true.
Nancy Rothman is wonderful. We love you. I got a question for you, Kaustubha.
Okay.
This is an unrehearsed question that is actually just rising in my heart and needs a solid answer. So I'm going to you because I think your answer will help.
I hope I can help.
I hope you can too. So, all right, we're supposed to see our life in perspective. I've zoomed out all these worries, all these fears. They're insignificant. There's a greater plan. There's a benevolent force lifting me higher. Don't let the lemons get you down. Turn it into lemonade. I get it. Where is there room, or is there room for human mourning, human sadness, human grief? Or are we supposed to just step out of humanness to be a spiritual God, almost to be just our full spiritual being, a demigod? Am I supposed to be above my humanness?
No, no. It's like, just like when we talk about perspective. The point is that we don't have only one close-up perspective, but we need another. We need to zoom out as well. But you don't, just because you zoom out doesn't mean you never zoom in, right?
Okay.
It's so. In other words, I can feel human emotions here. I will feel human emotions. I really have no choice about that. I can try to eliminate them with, analysis, with zoomed out analysis. But what a wise person does is they understand that those emotions that I'm experiencing, let me also respond to them in a way that involves or includes the zoomed out perspective. It doesn't have to be,
I like that.
right?
I
Entirely.
Like that.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be entirely the zoomed out perspective. Like, in other words, like someone in my family is very sick, right? And suffering.
Sure.
So the zoomed out perspective is you've had billions and billions of people that have been very close to you and your family throughout all the billions of lifetimes you've been through. This is just one more. It's insignificant. I mean, there is truth in that, but there's also the zoomed in truth, which is truth as well. And that here's sometimes when we read the verses in, whether it's Bhagavatam or Upanishads or whatever, ancient Vedic texts that we read, some of them are coming from the Jnanic point of view. They're trying to foster a material detachment in us, right? Saying, and that may be through zooming out and saying, hey, you got to let go. You've been attached this way in so many different lifetimes. But the point is this, and this is what the Bhakti-yogis know really well, what the Bhakti-yogis teach really well, is that, for instance, if we hear a verse that's kind of like cutting away at family attachment, it's not that we're meant to hate or be callous to our family. We are meant to see them from that perspective that I don't even know if I could count how many families I've had in the different births that I've taken. So this is just one more, and that's a fact. But at the same time, right here, right now, I'm in this family. In this person, I should feel love for them, and compassion for them. And it's not that I'm meant to the idea is that I'm meant to feel that love and compassion for every living being. So it's not I'm not meant to eliminate the love and compassion that I have from everyone, including my family. I'm meant to feel it for everyone, in one way or another. And so let me start with my family, these people that are right here, near and dear, right?
I really needed that today.
Okay.
Thank you. You see the perspective. Let me see if I can recap this.
Yeah.
You're in the zoomed in version, but see it with also the perspective of the zoomed out, and it will lessen the sting.
Nice.
Of any pain you're feeling, and
and help you grow.
And we'll give some bigger picture to the pain and help us grow.
Yeah, help
us grow.
Okay. Nice.
That's what we do here in the Bhagavatam. That's what the Bhagavatam's doing.
You ready to do it?
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful, humble obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become extinguished, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmidatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born ignorant, and my teachers are in the process of forcing open my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances at their lotus feet.
Okay.
Ha ha. Hey, we also want to, before we say, I'm on a Sweet Baby Krishna marathon, BTW, and we're having another class tonight. It's basically reading from the 10th canto. It's fun. It's short. You can check in. Patreon members, it's all for you. If you'd like to join the Patreon party, you may join it at patreon.com/wisdom of the sages tonight at 8:30 Eastern time. It's a half hour. Sometimes we go over to 45 minutes of reading Krishna Leela. Wonderful way to wind down the night. We had a good crew. We had like 40 people last night.
Nice.
And that's sweet. And if you miss one, it stays up on Patreon, so you can go back.
And you know what I did last night, Raghunath?
What?
I spent some time with some friends. The people from Plenitude Farm in
What?
in Puerto Rico, yeah.
What?
Yeah. And we were
Vaishnava?
Yeah, Vaishnava and others.
He's
And
in New
we-
York?
No. You know, online. We did like some reading and discussion of Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Oh, these guys are great.
Yeah,
I'm planning on going down there. Want to come with me?
yeah, I'd love to go down there.
Let's go.
Okay.
Plenitude Farm, shout out. They listen to our podcast all the time.
Every one of them, they're all others. And so I'm going to share that recording of that. I'm going to be meeting with him every couple of weeks, and we're going to discuss Chaitanya Charitamrita, incredible Bhakti-yoga text. And so I'll be sharing that on Patreon for Patreon members too.
They want you to read, but not me.
What are you
What's up
talking
with What's up with Plenitude?
about?
They just want you.
I see that you flipped it in a negative way there. Right? There's no need for that.
Oh no, are you guys frozen again? There you go. All right. No, we love those dudes. My internet connection is unstable. Can you hear me, Kaustubha?
I can hear you.
Okay, let's dive in here now.
Okay.
All right. Why don't you give us an update where we are, who we are, where we're going?
We read up to text 35, and I think we're going to complete the chapter. Altogether, there's 42 verses. So, you know, we've heard about the length of Brahma's life, and you know, we built up in time, and now we've gotten to the length of Brahma's life. And I think I did a calculation. Let's see. The length of Brahma's life. Oh no! You know what I calculated?
What?
I calculated how many breaths a human being takes in their life. Do you know how many breaths we take in a day? Oh no, you're frozen. Stop breathing. You there, Raghunath?
Depends on the person, right?
Well, no, there's an average rate of breath.
Well, average, but there's short breathers.
Well, I wasn't asking for like every single individual. I wasn't asking for to reel off like a list of every single person and how many breaths
We
they
got to
take.
like
An average.
You're saying a rough idea of breathing.
Yeah.
You know, it depends. If they're all yogis, it's a whole different thing. You ever
He's
ever
being
do this
difficult, man,
as a
isn't
yoga practitioner? The doctor says, take a deep breath, and he puts the stethoscope on your heart, and you're like, the doctor's like, what the hell what's going on? This guy's breathing in for like 15 seconds.
No, but the average breaths.
What's the average?
The average is 21,800 breaths in a day.
Yeah.
That's a lot of breaths.
That's for standard American diet Americans. Yogis are like half that much. We're like,
Slowing it down. So that means in 100 years, if you lived a 100-year life,
yeah.
that would be 795,700,000 breaths.
Mm.
Now that's human, right? Now what if you went to the life of Brahma? You would multiply that. I don't even know if we have numbers that big, how many breaths he takes. And you know what we're going to find out today, Raghu?
What?
I'm
How
gonna hold it.
many breaths? How many breaths he breathes?
No. Well, not exactly. We're going to find out how long his life is, though. But then we're going to find out that his entire life is only... I'm going to hold it, and we'll see.
Tell me. All right. What chapter are we on? Let's keep it simple. What chapter are we on? 9?
No, we're in chapter 11.
Chapter 11. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and
I
we're
close out of it every day.
text number 36.
Text 36. Here we go. The millennium which followed the first Brahma millennium is known as Padmakalpa, because it is that millennium that the universal lotus flower grew out of the navel reservoir of water of the personality of Godhead. Hari.
So you have the Brahma Kalpa, that's the first day of Brahma, and then you have the Padma Kalpa, which is the second day of Brahma, and again, a kalpa is 1,000 yuga cycles.
1,000 yuga cycles.
It's a very long time.
So if you joined us late or not in the last couple days, we're calculating time from the cosmos. It's quite magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
O descendant of Bharat, the first millennium in the second half of the life of Brahma is also known as the Varaha millennium because the personality of Godhead appeared in that millennium as the hog incarnation. So
That's
this shoots
out.
down all ideas of anthropomorphism.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right, Maren? What do you think? Right? We think that God is made of like God is made to look like us, so we create a God that looks like us. No, no. God was a hog, a hog avatar. We kid you not. He was a swan avatar.
That's the
Heard
first
the swan
Leela.
avatar, Kaustubha?
Hamsa?
Hamsa the swan avatar. Right?
Yeah, but the first Leela avatar, the first pastime incarnation is Varaha. And he comes in just the right body to take up his mission, right? But we're going to hear about that. I think it's 2 chapters away. We're going to hear about that.
Okay. We're going to keep you in suspense. We
That's
won't
right.
spoil it for you.
Everyone's like, the hog incarnation. What?
Hog. Sleepy hog. There must be like a Baal Varaha, right?
Baby
Baby
Varaha?
hog. Baby hog.
I don't know if there's a baby Varaha. He may come out mature.
Okay, yeah, all right.
You always want to go to the baby one.
They're adorable. Even the most ugly beast in their baby form is quite adorable. Think about
It's
it.
true.
O descendant of Bharat, the first millennium, the second half of Brahma
You
is
just
also
read that.
known as the Varaha millennium. Gotcha.
That's
The
exciting.
duration
Now, this
of
is
the
it.
two parts
Here's
of
what
Brahma's life,
here's what we're going to talk about. I think this is the verse. Go ahead. Read it.
as above mentioned, is calculated to be equal to 1 nimesha,
Mhm.
less than a second. For the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it was unchanging and unlimited and is the cause of all causes of the universe.
Okay. So this just said that 1 kalpa, or 1 day of Brahma, it says the 2 parts of Brahma's life, as mentioned above, is calculated. Oh, not even 1 day. I'm sorry. The entire life of Brahma, right?
Yeah.
The entire life of Brahma is calculated to be equal to 1 nimesha. Remember when we went back there? See, it's zooming in, zooming out now. Now it's saying, remember, we're at the lifetime of Brahma. It's ridiculously, it's way beyond your own 100 years. It's like you can't even imagine how long it is Brahma's life. But Brahma's huge, massive, incalculable life, that's going back to that original, very tiny measurement of time. It's for Lord Vishnu, it's like less than a second. Because he is unchanging. Even Brahma is changing. Even this creature with this incredibly long lifetime, he seems so stable. You know? Incalculably stable compared to our lifetime. He dies too. And so he's changing and he's limited. But Vishnu is unchanging and unlimited. He's the cause of all causes in the universe. And so that nimesha, let's read a little bit about what Prabhupada writes here.
All right. Before you start reading, Mara, can you do some research and find out who came up with this concept of seconds and minutes? And is it a solar calculation? Where did we derive that?
Well, how are you going to go back farther than this?
No, well, I'm just saying, here's a whole other way to measure time. Where do we come up with ours? Mara, go.
Go, Mara.
Go, Mara, go.
So here's what Prabhupada writes. He says, the great sage Maitreya, sage level 3, has given a considerable description of... You're cracking up over there.
Sage level 3.
Sage level 3. The great sage Maitreya has given a considerable description of the time of different dimensions, beginning with the atom, the paramanu, up to the duration of the life of Brahma. So from extremely tiny to really, really huge. Now he attempts to give some idea of the time of the unlimited personality of Godhead. He just gives a hint of his unlimited time by the standard of the life of Brahma. The entire duration of the life of Brahma is calculated to be less than a second of the Lord's time, as is explained in the Brahma Samhita 548 as follows. Yasyaika nish vasita kalam atavalambya jivanti loma vijala jaganandanata Vishnur mahan sa iha yasya kala vishesho. Hit it.
Govindamadi Purujam Tamham Bhajami.
I worship Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, whose plenary portion is Mahavishnu. All the heads of the innumerable universes, the Brahmas, live only by taking shelter of the time occupied by one of his breaths. Right? So that's referring to, you see, that's
one breath of Vishnu
is Brahma's entire lifetime. One breath.
What a zoom out, huh?
That's like a massive zoom out, right?
And I was worried about what color to paint the living room. Who cares? Who cares?
Raghunath's going to take this too far.
You're so insignificant.
Yeah. So if we have 795 million breaths in our life, more than that. Well, if we live 100 years, then Brahma would be like, you can't even calculate the number. I don't know how many zeros you'd have to put there to get to Brahma's breaths. It's like insane. And all of that is only one breath for Lord Vishnu. So what does that mean? It says that Mahavishnu is creating innumerable universes from his breathing, and they're coming out of the pores of his body. And in one exhale, they go out, and on the inhale, they come in. And then that's it. And that's Brahma's entire lifetime, just for one breath. He's moving slow.
Unbelievable, huh?
Right? He's moving very, very slow. And he's just doing it in his sleep, effortlessly. Countless universes. And everything that's going on in those countless universes. The innumerable living entities just in one universe. And there are innumerable universes. And they're all just coming out of him and going back into him. And it's nothing.
All right, Kaustubha, what kind of sick game is God playing with us? That we're like caught up in this web and thinking of the reality and falling in love and getting our hearts broken and children dying and human trafficking and why?
Well,
why? So we can realize it's all an illusion?
We're gonna get a lot more of that in the next chapter.
This is like the Hunger Games. Fight each other, kill each other, and we'll just watch. Is that who God is to you?
I didn't see the Hunger Games, but is there any like wise character in the Hunger Games?
They take these destitute people, and then they pick them and make them like celebrities, and they can hang out with the haves, and they give them like special like a clout, but they have to live in this sort of like almost like a massive outdoor arena and they have to fight each other till their death, and all the haves witness it and they're like, whoa, very nice.
Are there any wise people in the Hunger Games? Sage? Is there a sage?
If somebody knows, write it on the board. I'm not that familiar with it, but
okay, because maybe
you gotta watch it. I think it would a person like yourself would derive great Krishna conscious meaning from it.
You think so? Is it a film or is it a series?
It's like a series. It's a books, but it's a series of movies.
A series of films.
I think there's 3 movies. Somebody knows. Somebody out there knows, you Zoomer.
3.
You're faking it, Zoomers. You're like, oh, I don't watch movies. I don't subscribe to that.
I don't waste my time that way.
Thank you, Eben Youngblood. 3 books, 4 movies. It's a trilogy. Nathan
so there's
Dante.
one more book coming, maybe?
I absolutely don't think Kaustubha will enjoy them. Okay,
you don't.
Nathan Dante says no. You won't like them. Anybody else? No.
Okay. But you know what, Raghunath? In a sense, it is like that, right? It is like that. Like we've chosen to enter into the arena, though. And how that arena is made up.
There you go.
But you see, within this Hunger Games, there's a way out. It's clarified for us, you know. And next chapter is so fascinating because it's going to talk about Brahma himself as the first living being, what he creates to keep us in illusion. And then his own responses to that. And then he creates the 4 Kumaras. And you know what? He just goes through it all. Like all that we go through in our life, Brahma goes through in carrying out his duty. It's really fascinating stuff. So we're going to get there, Raghunath. But just for now, we're just want a few last verses to kind of blow our minds out of the limited perspective that we have.
Okay, what number are we on?
We are on number 39.
Eternal time is certainly the controller of different dimensions, from that of the atom up to the superdivisions of the duration of Brahma's life. But nevertheless, it is controlled by the Supreme.
Mhm.
Time can control only those who are body conscious. What?
Boom. Right.
Let's say that again.
Say that again.
Time can control only those who are body conscious, even of the Satyaloka or the other higher planets of the universe. You know, it's really true. This is the ongoing message of the Bhagavatam, the message of the Gita, the message of Vedic truth. You'll hear it from the get-go, the ABCs. You're not a body. You're not white, black, Asian. You're not even human. You're like, yeah, well, I'm only human. You're not. You're not only human. You're not human. You're a spiritual being. Once we start identifying ourselves with what we actually are, it starts to melt not only your problems, but the problems of the world, society's problems. We start to see people as spiritual beings. We start to see all living entities, all animals, the forest, the earth itself as a spiritual being. And we extend a type of dignity because we see them for what they actually are. This is where we're going with all this. This is the answer to the world's problems right here in the Bhagavatam. We figured it out.
You did
the
it again.
Bhagavatam has figured it out. We're just why don't they ever ask us our opinion?
I know.
We can.
But Joe Rogan asked you, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. How about when Joe Rogan said Hare Krishna at the end?
That was awesome.
That was like every Hare Krishna in the world was like, yeah.
It's true. It's true.
That was good.
He accepted us.
All right.
But that was the big statement in that verse, right? Time can control only. So we're hearing about like time, and it's like this. Well, this, like, my God, I'm so trapped, right? Like I'm in this tiny little lifetime, and my God, I'm going through so many in one of Brahma's lives, and can I get out? Or, is time going to ruin everything for me in an unlimited chain and cycles? But no, time can control only those who are bodily conscious. Once you understand, I'm not my body. I'm that eternal soul within. It's incredibly profound idea. It's this all the suffering comes from this misidentification. You heard this example before, like say you're in your apartment, right? And you hear a crash outside and you're thinking, oh my God, someone just crashed in my car's parked out front. Someone just crashed into my car. Right? And then in that moment, what happens is we become controlled, right? Because of our attachment and our identification with our body and what's extended from our body, including our possessions. We become victimized by time in so many different ways. Like, oh, my car was, looking beautiful and undented and impressive.
Yeah.
And now someone's crashed into it. The force of time has changed it. Now it's changed, right? And it'll be dented and messed up, maybe not even rideable and not nearly as impressive. And then what happens is because of that attachment, anger starts to rise in the mind. Who the hell smashed into my car? Why were they being so neglectful? What the hell is going on? I want to kill them. And then you go and you look outside the window and you say, oh, they didn't crash into my car. They crashed into someone else's car.
I'm relieved.
Then you feel a sense of relief, right? but you can just see like you're controlled by time now. You're controlled by the changing of your body, the changing of your possessions, the changing of your relationships and experiences and so on. You become changed because you're identifying with the body and the externals. But if firmly, truly, in a very solid way, one begins to understand, and this is what the sage is, right? One begins to understand, I'm not this body. Everything is going to change. That's a given, right? That's a huge idea right there, right? Here's a mantra for you. Ready, Raghunath?
Hit me.
Everything's going to change. That's a given, right? I already accept it. right? So then as things are changing, I'm not upset, I'm not frustrated, I'm not disturbed because I know that that's the nature of this world, right? So
Yeah.
if that's my conscious, I'm meditating not and identifying not with anything external, including my own body. Well, now time doesn't control me anymore because I'm eternal. And so time can control only those who are body conscious, even up to
I'm
such a
giving
loka.
you an Indian yes.
Yes.
Some people thinking like I'm disagreeing, but I'm not. This is a total agreement. It's
you go.
not no, it's a yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Did you note that one down, Mara? What did I say? I forgot it already. Time's taken it away.
No, quote me, Mara. Don't quote him. Quote me.
Everything is going to change. That's a given.
That's it. Everything's going to change.
I like that. I'm gonna write that
Yeah.
down too.
I'm gonna tattoo it.
I'm gonna have no more room to tattoo things on my body after the next 100 episodes of Wisdom of the Sages.
Okay. All right. Text 40.
Text 40, the phenomenal material world
Mm-hmm.
is expanded to a diameter of 4 billion miles.
That's a zoom out.
What? As a combination of 8 material elements transformed into 16 further categories within and without as follows. The layers of elements covering the universe are each 10 times thicker than the one before. And all the universes clustered together appear like atoms in a huge combination. So that is sort of like earth, water, fire, and they're all doubling in the universe.
No, not doubling. 10 times.
Oh, 10 times.
Yeah.
And the last one being the subtle one, the ego. It's 10 times, right? It's 10 times the last one before it.
So what this is saying, this is again like now we've gone through the time zoom outs. Now it's giving a space zoom out, right?
Oh my
In other words, you're in a universe that is, what is it? What did you say? 400 billion? 4 billion miles in size. Okay.
4 billion miles.
So it's got I guess a diameter of 4 billion miles.
Just
Or
our
circumference?
universe? Or like, does that mean
Circumference?
everything? Does it mean the universe?
Well, no, now listen.
What's the name of our universe, Mara?
I don't know, Chatramukhi universe?
No, I
or
mean
something?
in real life. Not in gaming.
Well, I think they just call it the universe. So I don't think they gave it a name.
Well, isn't there different universes?
We think of different universes.
I have
but
to go back to school. I'm so dumb.
What was the other question Mary was supposed to come up with? Time. You're asking these like super broad questions right now. They think you zoomed too far out.
It's 3 Google searches
Mary's
away.
like, there's no answer to that question. What are you talking about?
Somebody came up with the concept of 60 seconds equals a minute. Someone out there.
The ancient Babylonians.
Captain Caveman.
Babylonians. There we go. The Babylonians.
The Babylonians. Mary just threw that
The
out.
Milky Way
He
galaxy.
bid. He took the bait. He took the bait, Mary, right? Just throw out some ancient sounding name, the Babylonians. There you go. Babylonians.
Oh, you made that up?
No. The internet told me.
You guys are punking me. So wait, is the Milky Way our galaxy?
That's a galaxy.
I'm so gullible. You could tell me anything. I was like, yeah, the Milky Way.
The sun is like zooming around, like revolving around the Milky Way.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. But in any case, even the Milky Way is just one galaxy within the universe. And this is saying that the universe is 4 billion miles in size. I don't know if that means circumference or diameter or what, but it's like, whatever it is.
British mile? I think British miles are different. Let's just continue on. Please.
But here's the point, Raghunath. So then it's saying that is, and this is something I never understood fully, right? But it's saying like that's not even including the coverings of the universe. And it's saying that these 8 elements, the 8 gross elements constitute the coverings. Or not the 8 gross elements, but the Mahabhutas. Or not the Mahabhutas, but the 8, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. That these 8 are, each one is a layer around the universe. Now, what does that mean? I don't know exactly. Like, how is ego or earth even, like surrounding the universe? But it said that the first one, earth, is the first covering.
Maybe it means just that everything is touchable, like the planets are touchable, but then there's another layer.
Well, earth is actually
water,
smellable.
Then there's
right.
Smellable, and then there's you can touch earth too, but
Earth has them all.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And
The
then
next
water would
could
have
be-
not smell, but
next.
but
Right.
everything else. And then
So the next could be a
air.
water. There could be water as a layer, the universe. It's way beyond our perception because we're like bugs. And then the next level could be fire because we could be a fiery. Maybe that's where the Christians get the idea
now
of
hold
hell.
it. Hold it now. Here you go. Now this is saying that the first covering of Earth is 10 times thicker than the universe itself. So that means it's 40 billion miles.
We need, we need.
No, hold on,
Frenchie
Raghu.
Tanichar on here.
I'm giving you accurate information right here. Okay. This is from the purport here. The coverings of the universe are also constituted of the elements of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and each is 10 times thicker than the one before. The first covering of the universe is earth, and it is 10 times thicker than the universe itself. So that makes it 40 billion miles. And then the next one is 400 billion miles. And then the next one is 4,000 billion miles.
What you're getting now is the real zoom out again.
It's kind of like a
Show us
massive.
how tiny we are. It's a massive zoom out.
So
Stop worrying about your problems, people.
That's what it boils
Do
down
you
to.
understand how we are like a fly worrying about what am I going to do with my life? We're about to die. That's what we're going to do. We're about to die and take on a new body any moment now.
Right. Because if you go 8 times 40 billion, it just gets like, I don't even know what that number is. If each
We are
time
like bacteria. Didn't Nathan Donde say we were like bacteria, live for 24 hours?
it's not
At
even
noon,
right?
we're having a midlife crisis.
Yeah. and that's only one universe out of unlimited universes that are all going into the body of Lord Vishnu and coming out again. All right. I think we only got one more verse left.
The supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is therefore said to be the original cause of all causes. I love that statement. The original cause of all causes.
Sarva karna karnam.
You could just think about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happens, there's a cause to it. What was the cause to that? Well, that was the cause to that. Well, what was the cause to that? Well, that was the cause. Krishna is the original cause of all causes. Great statement. Thus, the spiritual abode of Vishnu is eternal, without a doubt. And it is also the abode of Mahavishnu, the origin of all manifestations.
Purport.
You got a purport here? You got a purport?
Yeah, okay, I can read it. Lord Mahavishnu, who is resting in Yoga Nidra on the causal ocean and creating innumerable universes by his breathing process, only temporarily appears in the Mahatattva, in the material realm, you could say, for the temporary manifestation of the material worlds.
That's a good Sanskrit takeaway word. People should know that word.
Mahatattva.
Mahatattva.
Yeah.
Write that on the board, please, Mara.
Mahatattva.
And when people ask me what that means, I just say Mahatattva means everything of the material universe.
It's the batter.
Is that how you describe it?
I say it's the batter.
It's the batter, yeah.
Right? It's like
Using the
raw
baseball
materials.
analogy.
No, not batter. That batter like a baking analogy.
Oh, the baking analogy. Sorry. Okay.
It's the batter.
Continue
It's like
on.
all the ingredients before they've taken on their shape. But it's described different ways. It's a hard concept for me to fully get. He says he is the planet. So Mahavishnu, what this verse is saying is that we know this Mahavishnu in the material world, but then there's also a Vishnu that you could also call Mahavishnu, who's in the spiritual realm. So he says he is a plenary portion of Lord Sri Krishna. And thus, although he is non-different from Lord Krishna, his formal appearance in the material world as an incarnation is temporary. The original form of the personality of God is the actual Svarupa, or the real form. And he eternally resides in the Vaikuntha world, Vishnu Loka. The word Mahatmanaha is used here to indicate Mahavishnu, and his real manifestation is Lord Krishna, who is called Parama. Parama means like the highest. As confirmed in Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Right? Ishvara means controller, and Parama means the supreme controller. Right? Because there's so many different levels. Just like there's causes of different causes, there's also controllers of different controllers. Right?
Just like I control my kids, the spouse controls me.
Mara controls her kitchen and her workers with an iron fist.
Right, but then she gets pulled over by a cop, and the cop controls her. Then the cop has a
That's
chief
right.
of police, and the chief of police is subordinate to the mayor. The mayor's right. So
Yeah.
there's layers of
Governor,
controllers,
president.
And then we can be all under the control of the sun. It's too hot, or there's a hurricane. The wind is too windy, there's a big cyclone hitting Gujarat right now. And so there's mass 150,000 people evacuating. So then we're like, prayers for them, by the way. But 150,000 people have to evacuate. So we're subordinate to different levels of controllers. Who is the controller of all the controllers?
Ishvara Parama Krishna.
Ishvara Parama Krishna.
Okay. And then his form is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. His Vigraha, his form, is composed out of Satchit Ananda. It's eternality, knowledge, and bliss.
Anadir Adir Govinda.
Yeah. Anadir Adir. Meaning like he has no beginning or end, right?
Yeah.
Govinda. And then
Sarva Karana Karanam.
He's the cause of all causes. Right? So the translation is the Supreme Lord is Krishna, the original personality of God, known as Govinda. His form is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, and he is the original cause of all causes. And so, we've been reading all these verses, right? And they've been giving us this zoom out. And when you zoom out, it's like, oh my God, I'm in this, like you were saying earlier, right? Not only Hunger Games, but I'm in this crazy matrix that's unlimited. And it's like, I'm just this tiny speck. And is there any chance of me ever getting out? And what does it look like to become free of it? And my God, it's inestimable. I can't even estimate how massive the machinery of the material realm is. Even the universe is inconceivable. And the universe is just one tiny little speck amongst unlimited universes. I'm so tiny. What lies beyond? And when you get beyond it, what do you find? It's not like some supercomputer or some, like massive bearded man, or it's Krishna, sweet baby Krishna, right?
Massive bearded man.
You're against that one?
I was thinking of like a hipster with like a waxed mustache. A massive hipster.
with a wax
looking like
that's intimidating,
like
that wax mustache
from the 1850s.
Well, they do have this in films and stuff, right? Isn't I never liked the Wizard of Oz. I don't even think I watched the whole thing as a kid, but isn't it like at the end, like you find out like who the wizard is?
Yeah, it's just some joker
pulling
things around. Yeah.
And then aren't there other stories like that? Like, there's this big controller behind everything, and then you finally pull the curtain down and you see what lies behind it, right? Yeah. And sometimes it's like terrifying. Oh my God, that's what's behind everything, but when the whole point, what's being presented here in this Vedic literature, it's just look at these books, right? Okay, this story sounds far out. And, in a couple chapters later, we're going to hear about like the hog incarnation. That sounds like totally like, almost bizarre.
Can't make that one up.
But you can't deny that there's an incredibly deep, strong philosophy being presented over these vast, amount of literature. And, there's an incredible amount of beautiful poetry. There's an incredibly deep theology. Like these aren't just like crude folklore. Even if you don't accept it as being true, you have to appreciate that there's incredible minds behind this.
And there's some great practical, relevant info to walk away with for today.
Well, that's there, but I'm just saying, this is an incredible, tradition, growing out of this literature. It's like artistically, scientifically, in terms of yoga, in terms of metaphysics, in terms of practical sciences. What this Vedic literature is giving is like, it's massive and it's huge and it's very impressive. If you're open-minded, even if you don't accept it, you have to be impressed by it. It's really quite something. And so what to speak of if you do accept it and if you do apply it in your life and you do find you do derive positive results from it and your faith in it increases. And so it's giving us this picture that we could never get. It's a perspective from our angle we could never, ever, ever get. That I'm one tiny being in a universe. I'm a spark of spiritual energy amongst unlimited others in one universe, which is tiny amongst unlimited universes. But beyond it all, there's a realm. And when you pull down the veil and when you finally get to who's behind it all, what does that controller, that Ishvara Parama, the supreme controller, look like? Is it some computer or some joker or some scary, powerful being? It's the sweetest.
Chubby little baby.
is the sweetest. Is the sweetest person you could ever imagine. Beautiful, sweet, kind. The greatest artist, the greatest lover. Just that. Everything that our heart would desire is right there in that person, Krishna. And what's he interested in? Like manipulating us for his, for some kind of sick enjoyment or something like that.
Shaming you.
Like you're saying in the Hunger Games, right? It's like somebody's sick mind wants to just watch people kill each other.
Sadistic mind. No.
Yeah, no.
Reciprocating, loving exchanges.
He actually wants to serve us because he knows that that's where the highest pleasure comes from.
Like he serves Arjuna. Like he serves Draupadi.
Yeah. Right. That's what you find behind the whole thing. And so the Bhagavatam is, it's playing out all the kind of stuff. We're going through the different cantos. When we get to Krishna, and he's running around and he's being chased by his mother, because he's been stealing yogurt and he's leaving these adorable little yogurt footprints all over the house, or when he's, stealing the clothes of the gopis, all these girls that are totally in love with him, and he's playing pranks on them and tricks, but underneath them there's very deep, meaningful, message of love in it. When he's dancing with the gopis, in the beautiful Rasa Leela dance, when he's playing with his friends, different sports, they pick up different fruits and they toss them around like balls. They wrestle with each other. They just have fun all day, run around with the calves and the cows, that boy, he's the Ishvara Parama, right? One breath of his, not even of his, right, of his expansion, one breath of his expansion is the entire life of not only one Brahma, but unlimited Brahmas, that sweet boy, right? So Bhagavatam's giving us this massive, huge picture, huge theology, huge understanding of reality. It's the more that you read it, the more that you contemplate, the more that you think about, the more that you're exposed to it, the more that you learn about it. My God, it's just unbelievable. It's beautiful, it's very sweet, and it's actually very practical. It's just a whole mind-blowing thing.
It's a mind blower.
It's a mind blower.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
What a day. Mara, what do you got for us?
All right, I got some
wisdom pad.
takeaways. Wow.
You got some good ones?
Your
I
wisdom
do.
journal.
I do. I'm 100% responsible for creating my experience.
She
Yeah.
liked it. She kept it. She liked
I
that and kept
did.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Our importance only comes from our contribution.
Good. Okay.
You need perspective to map out your destination.
Nice.
Yes.
Time can control only those who are body conscious.
Love
Boom.
that.
That was a
Love
big
that.
one.
Yeah. And everything is going to change. That's a given.
How about this one?
Yeah.
Repetition is the mother of mastery.
Oh,
That's a good
boom.
one.
In the middle of your, you were just doing that whole last monologue thing you just
Yeah.
did, you said unlimited others. I thought that was a hashtag.
Unlimited others.
Unlimited others. The others are unlimited. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Man,
You
God, there's
unlimited
79 things on the chat board. It's like people are going crazy today. What's going on? I haven't seen any of it yet.
Bhakti Recovery Group, men's meeting at 11 a.m. and women's meeting at 2 p.m. We're going to talk about each other. Just kidding. That's your Bhakti Recovery. If you want to join that, it's it's part of the Patreon community. We also want to share that if you want to join a Zoom, it is sort of like a known secret that people love being on Zoom because they just meet people. We have some people. We actually have couples that have met on Zoom. Couples that have met here on
I'm
Zoom.
waiting for the first wisdom of the sage is marriage and the first wisdom of the sage is baby. Who will it be?
And they're going to call, you know what they're going to call the baby?
What?
Zoom. Bhakti Zoom.
Dr. Zoom?
Yeah, maybe.
What?
Bhakti Zoom.
I thought you were going to say like
Bhakti other.
Govinda or something like that.
Talk to other. Anyway, we want to thank. So join if you're out there listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Justin, you're dancing and is shaking my computer camera. If you're out there listening on Apple Podcasts, email us. Email Mara. Get those secretive codes and join our little. What's it called? Where witches come together? Coven.
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 Coven?
Coven. Coven. Join our
COVID?
coven. Join our coven, Hare Krishna.
It's a coven? I think it's
Join
a
our coven.
coven. Mara, is it a coven or coven?
I don't know.
She's like, I
Weren't
don't know
you a
about witch
Wicca
stuff.
person, Mara?
We didn't learn about witch stuff in private school.
You're supposed to look it up, Mara. Don't think the show's over now. We're still on,
Where's
okay?
Nancy? Anyway,
I think it's
get
a coven.
coven. Get
Yeah.
Mara. I mean, not Mara. Get the email.
I'm going to
from
have to
Mara.
look this up. She just said, I think. What you
Right,
think
Mara.
doesn't matter.
Write Mara at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. Wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. And you can get the secret codes to join our coven of Zoomers. So you can meet your soulmate and have little baby Zoom of your own.